Growing up in the Seattle area, I'd watch the Huskies play in this stadium and endure some brutal seasons, including that painful 0-12 year I sat through in the stands at Husky Stadium. Now, their stadium looks like this, and in college football 26, I was finally in a position to help rebuild the program. Video games are such a delight. They can make you dream and hope that something could be better on the horizon. With Jedd Fisch as the head coach, we started a 4-year contract with one simple goal: win at least 7 games. Our 4-star program rating gave us immediate access to solid talent. I kicked off recruiting by locking in the highest rated prospects already in our pipeline, especially 5-star offensive tackles and a versatile center we could slide anywhere along the line. We added a 4-star defensive end from California who could possibly play outside linebacker, and we snagged a hybrid safety to help stabilize the secondary. After spamming scholarships to fill out the board, I spent scouting hours making sure we avoided busts. Our quarterback, Demond Williams, looked steady for the moment, but we desperately needed a running back to replace Jonah Coleman. I made it a priority to grab a promising 4-star athlete right here in Seattle. Keeping local talent home was priority number 1. Diving deeper into the coaching tree, Fisch brought an offense-focused theme with the elite recruiter perk unlocked for the O-line, and strategist already developing. Assistant coach Murphy's talent developer trait would help our young linemen and running backs grow faster than normal. Then the real battles began. Temple's coming hard for Marquise Casey. Arizona State is pushing for our top running back. Notre Dame hovered over Sione Rao. Oregon lingered on Kevin Pedrino and Timmy Pryor, forcing me to put extra points into those fights. We go toe-to-toe with Texas for 5-star DeMarco Davis, try to steal local kid Terrence Saylor away from the Ducks, and battled Cal for Roland Marsh and Nick Harper. I aggressively pursued in-state prospects like Josh Soto from Kent and Angel Ezekiel from Camas, while throwing scholarships at tougher out-of-state targets against Oregon, LSU, and UCLA. Once the board felt complete, I dropped the game speed to low, handed the reins fully over to Jedd Fisch, and hit sim to end a game. No play calling for me, just watching the dogs fight under their coach. The rebuild was officially underway. After all those hard years watching from the stands in Seattle, it was time to see if we could finally take Washington to the next level. With Jedd Fisch at the helm, the Huskies entered the year hungry to climb out of the middle of the Big Ten pack. Demond Williams led the offense, Jonah Coleman powered the backfield, and a young, improving defense showed flashes of dominance. Fans in Seattle dared to hope this would be the year the program finally took the next step. Husky Stadium was electric on opening night. Demond Williams started shaky with an early incompletion, but he quickly found his rhythm. He stepped up in the pocket and launched a 38-yard bomb that Desmond Roebuck hauled in, sparking the crowd. Short passes and Jonah Coleman's chain-moving runs set up 1st and goal, where Williams dropped a perfect pass across the middle for a touchdown to Roebuck. Washington led 7-0. Colorado State answered with a big 13-yard run and hurried downfield. But Deshaun Lynch exploded through the line for a massive sack, forcing a punt. Late in the quarter, Williams uncorked another deep strike inside the 10. And Coleman punched it in from 2 yards out. The Huskies led 14-0 after the first quarter. In the second quarter, the defense came alive. Zach Durfee, playing out of position at left end, picked off the quarterback inside the 10. Williams then went to work, hitting Denzel Boston before finding Decker to Graf wide open for another touchdown. It was 21-0. The Rams managed a field goal, but Washington responded with play action and big runs from Coleman, ending in Williams hitting the Graf again in the end zone for his second score of the day. 28-3. A 31-yard field goal as time expired sent the Huskies into halftime up 31-3. Colorado State punched in a touchdown in the third. But Washington added another field goal. Another field goal made it 37-10. In the fourth, the Huskies defense stood tall with a red zone interception. The Rams scored late on a pitch play. But Washington recovered the onside kick, and Coleman sealed it with a first down run. Final, Washington 37, Colorado State 17. Williams threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Coleman racked up 142 yards and a score. Deshaun Lynch in the front seven delivered timely sacks. It was a convincing start. Explosive offense and opportunistic defense had Seattle buzzing. Here come the Huskies, running out to face off against FCS West in this Saturday afternoon matchup. Saturday afternoon brought another packed house. On the very first play, FCS West fumbled and Tariq Al-Ukda scooped it up and raced for a touchdown. The Huskies led 7-0 in seconds. The defense stayed relentless. Taitai Uyunglele and Deshaun Lynch recorded back-to-back sacks. Zach Durfee added another as Washington forced punts. Offensively, quick screens to Graf and strikes to Desmond Roebuck set up a goal line score. Denzel Boston dragged defenders across for the first offensive touchdown, making it 14-3. FCS West Ziggy Smallwood caught several short passes, but Russell Davis was a monster, exploding for multiple sacks and finishing with a staggering 5.5 sacks and a forced fumble, setting a conference record. Despite some defensive holes and over 200 passing yards allowed, Washington forced missed field goals. In the third, Jonah Coleman walked in untouched for a score, then added another later. FCS lost their starting quarterback to injury, but the backup kept them alive until a late touchdown made it 28-10. Washington recovered the onside kick, and Damon Williams scrambled in for a final score. Coleman had 2 rushing touchdowns. Graf caught 5 passes for 82 yards. Russell Davis dominated the stat sheet. The defense created havoc, but we'd need to tighten our pass coverage before Big Ten play really began. Rivalry week brought extra fire to Husky Stadium. Washington struck fast. A pitch to Coleman, a juke from Graf, and Williams hitting Denzel Boston wide open for an early touchdown. 7-0 in just 1 minute and 21 seconds. Boston already looks like an NFL star. The defense sacked the Cougar quarterback on the next drive. Washington's second possession was smoother. Williams spread the ball before Boston broke tackles for his second touchdown. It was 14-0. In the second quarter, the Huskies' patience paid off with completions to Graf ending in another touchdown strike to Roebuck. A screen to Coleman and a quick pass to Chris Lawson added more points before halftime. 28-0. Boston had 7 catches for over 170 yards and 2 scores at the break. Third quarter was all defense and field goals. In the fourth, Washington State's backup quarterback scrambled for big gains and found a late touchdown, spoiling the shutout. Final, Washington 38, Washington State 7. Williams threw for 365 yards and 5 touchdowns. Boston dominated with 10 catches for 210 yards. The defense allowed just one late score. The Apple Cup trophy came back home, a dominant statement in the rivalry. Alright, looks like we're going to have a tough game here today against Ohio State here at Husky Stadium. We're putting our home winning streak on the line, which in real life it was snapped at this particular game. Let's see if in simulation we can make a different outcome. A massive test under the lights. Ohio State marched methodically for an early field goal after a goal line stand. Washington answered with an 11-play, 84-yard drive, capping it with Rashid Williams sprinting down the middle for a touchdown. Huskies 7-3 after 1. The second quarter was a back-and-forth grind. Tariq Al-Uqda sacked the Buckeye quarterback, but Ohio State added another field goal. A highlight reel catch by Graf was wasted on a missed long field goal. Coming out of halftime, the Buckeyes capitalized with a touchdown run to lead 13-7. Washington went 3 and out, but battled back late. Quick passes and a goal line stand set up Jonah Coleman powering in for a touchdown. Washington leads 14-13. Williams moved the ball yet again into Buckeye territory, but an unforced error caused an interception. Ohio State answered with a field goal for a 16-14 edge. With a minute 12 left, Williams moved the ball into Buckeye territory again. But with 57 seconds on the clock, the pressure got to him and he threw another interception. Ohio State knelt out the clock. Final, Ohio State 16, Washington 14. The home winning streak ended in heartbreak. Williams played strong but had costly mistakes late. The defense held the number 1 team close with multiple sacks. Fisch's squad showed they could compete with elites, just not quite enough this time. Coming off a tough loss last week to Ohio State, we will go on the road this week to Maryland and face the Terrapins. Looks like on paper we should have the advantage. Let's jump into the game and see what happens. On the road, freshman Malik Washington torched the secondary early with a deep ball and efficient short passes, leading to a quarterback-keeper touchdown. 7-0 Maryland. Williams fumbled on a read option keep, and the Terps added another field goal for a 10-0 lead. Washington responded with completions to Graf, Roebuck, Coleman, and Rashid Williams. But the drive ended in a missed field goal. Maryland kept carving up the secondary. Adding more points. Late in the half, Williams scrambled and hit Rashid for a touchdown. 13-7. But the Terps tacked on another field goal just before halftime, extending their lead 16-7. Coming out of halftime, the Huskies marched right down the field methodically to score a touchdown and narrow the game to 16-14. At the end of the third, Maryland extended the lead 23-14. Washington battled back with big catches from Roebuck and Graf, allowing Rashid to score for his second touchdown, 23-21. Unfortunately, the onside kick failed and Maryland ran out the clock. Final, Maryland 23, Washington 21. A tough loss on the road. Malik Washington was a perfect 25 for 25. Rashid Williams had 2 touchdowns, but early mistakes and pass defense holes hurt. The Huskies showed fight but fell short. So this is the most important game we've got on our schedule here. We've got plenty of recruits visiting. It would be ideal if we could beat Rutgers. We should hold the advantage on paper, especially being played at home, but you never know what can happen. Washington took its time moving the ball down the field but settled for a field goal to take an early 3-0 lead. Rutgers then drove 88 yards easily for a touchdown. Washington moved the ball again, but failed on 4th down, setting up a 94-yard touchdown drive. The Huskies now trailed 14-3. Things worsened when Williams threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown. He responded with a quick drive and a touchdown to Jonah Coleman. In the third, the defense committed a pass interference penalty that allowed another Rutgers touchdown, 28-10. Finally, Damon Williams awoke and led a touchdown drive to end the third quarter to Denzel Boston. 28-17. There's still hope alive in Husky Stadium yet. A costly holding penalty on Rutgers allowed the defense to stiffen and force a punt. Williams then connected with Coleman for another score, plus a 2-point conversion. 28-25. The stadium's buzzing. Hope is on the horizon. With the ball back near midfield and 1:20 remaining, a nice strike to Roebuck got them inside the 5-yard line. Jonah Coleman scored on a quick pass. With under a minute left, the Huskies forced a desperation interception, took over and sealed the win. Washington wins 32-28 over Rutgers. Williams threw for 427 yards and 4 touchdowns. Coleman had a breakout receiving day with 3 scores. A thrilling comeback proved the team's character. The Washington Huskies are in Ann Arbor, Michigan this week to take on the Michigan Wolverines, who are ranked number 5 in the nation. Looks like a very hostile environment to be walking into. And here come the Huskies in Michigan Stadium. In the roaring big house, Washington jumped ahead with the safety. And a strong drive ending in Coleman's touchdown run. 9-0, just like that. Michigan cut it 9-7, but Williams hit the Graf for another score before halftime, 16-7 at half. The third quarter belonged to Washington. Williams stayed poised, connecting with the Graf and Coleman, who added a receiving touchdown for a 23-7 lead. A critical 4th down stop by Jacob Manu preserved the advantage. In the fourth, smart clock management and a field goal pushed it to 26-7. Michigan's final drive ended on an Ephesians Brysock swat for an incompletion. Final, Washington 26, Michigan 7. A massive road upset. Coleman rushed for 108 yards. Decker to Graf had 9 catches. The defense was stellar with sacks and stops. The big house fell silent, proof the Huskies could win anywhere. One thing I was noticing is when you want to come into the edit coach feature on an actual coach that is in the game, you cannot change their play style or playbook. So this is set. There's nothing I can do to change it. It is what it is, but we're trying to use Jedd Fisch to rebuild this, and so some of these things can make it a little bit more challenging. And if it does, I guess that'll just make this rebuild a little bit more enjoyable, right? Alright, so it looks like on paper we are dead even across the board. Nobody has an advantage, so we will see how this game plays out. Coming off a massive upset on the road last week, we have a top 25 showdown at home, and it turns sour quickly. Illinois scored 2 first-quarter touchdowns, including a 43-yard strike. For a 14-0 lead. Washington's offense stalled with multiple sacks and 3 and outs. By halftime, it was 21-0. The Illini kept it rolling in the second half with balanced runs and passes, pushing the lead to 28-0. Washington finally got on the board with a late field goal, but Illinois answered. In garbage time, Williams hit Graf and Roebuck for chunk gains. Coleman scored. And on the final play, we blocked the field goal attempt. Final, Illinois 31, Washington 10. Illinois dominated from start to finish. The late rally made it look closer than it felt. A tough home loss exposed defensive gaps. Once again, everything is even on paper, so this should be another competitive game, but the last one against Illinois was not competitive at all. At Camp Randall, Washington moved efficiently early but missed a field goal. Wisconsin led 3-0 after 1. The second quarter exploded. A spectacular catch by Graf set up Boston's touchdown. Then Williams found Coleman out of the backfield. Washington leads 14-3 at halftime. The defense improved with sacks from Durfee and Davis. Wisconsin added a long field goal, but Washington answered with the Desmond Roebuck touchdown, 21-6. In the fourth, Williams scrambled and handed off to Coleman for a rushing score. Wisconsin fought back late with the touchdown, but the Huskies responded and held on even as Wisconsin scored on the last play of the game. Washington 35, Wisconsin 21. Williams threw for 360 yards. Coleman scored twice. Bowl eligibility secured at 6-3, a much-needed bounce-back road win. Today we are welcoming the Purdue Boilermakers to Husky Stadium. Looks like we should have the edge advantage on paper. Let's see how the game will turn out. Yes! It's like we've almost gone all season without a weather game at Husky Stadium. And today will be a weather game. The pouring rain turned Husky Stadium into a slog. The defense set the tone with early sacks and tackles for loss. Both offenses struggled, with Washington missing a field goal and a fumble recovered by Zach Durfee set the offense up near midfield. On 4th and 2 inside the red zone, Williams scored on a design keeper, 7-0 at halftime. Purdue tied it in the third with a touchdown pass. Washington responded with a drive featuring Rashid Williams, Denzel Boston, and Jonah Coleman. But after reaching 1st and goal, the drive stalled and settled for a field goal, 10-7. The front seven bent but didn't break in the rain, forcing stops as Washington finally found a rhythm and Coleman scored a rushing touchdown, 17-7. Final, Washington 17, Purdue 7. A gritty, low-scoring defensive battle. Williams was careful with the ball. The win kept the Huskies alive in the standings. Today, the Washington Huskies travel down to Pasadena, California, to take on the UCLA Bruins in the Rose Bowl. Washington comes in just entering the top 25 rankings yet again for the year, number 22. Washington drove strong but stalled in the red zone yet again. UCLA starts its march downfield with 97 yards to go for a touchdown. Oh, how things could have been different on this drive if Dyson McCutcheon just held on to this pass. UCLA would march down the field and score a field goal. Washington would answer and tie it at 3 apiece. After trading field goals, UCLA adds yet another one. The first half was a red zone grind. UCLA led 6-3 at halftime. In the third, UCLA added a touchdown run to go up 13-3. Washington's offense sputtered against sacks. Late in the fourth, a long completion to Roebuck set up Williams' quarterback sneak touchdown, 13-10. After several drives of punting back and forth, Williams finally found Desmond Roebuck for a monster touchdown late in the fourth to take our first lead of the game. But did we leave too much time on the clock? UCLA had 1:06 remaining. With 34 seconds and no timeouts left, the ball sat at the Huskies' 29-yard line. On 4th and 2, they completed the pass. Rushed to the line and barely snapped it off for one final play, finding a wide open receiver in the end zone. Final, UCLA 19, Washington 17. A disappointing road loss. Roebuck had a big 58-yard catch, but red zone efficiency and sacks hurt. The Huskies dropped to 7-4. Oregon definitely holds an advantage over us in the paper rankings. Let's see how the game plays out on field. The Oregon Ducks travel from Eugene up the I-5 corridor to Seattle, Washington, in what looks like an overcast afternoon game. Rivalry week exploded on the first play. Williams kept it and sprinted 81 yards untouched for a touchdown. Washington led 7-0. The Huskies drove again, but red zone woes returned, and Oregon held us to a field goal. The Ducks scored on a touchdown before halftime. After another Husky drive into Oregon territory, but we missed yet another field goal. It was 10-7 Huskies at halftime. The Ducks found their rhythm in the second half, making a 58-yard field goal and scoring a touchdown, the former Husky Gary Bryant Jr., to take a 17-10 lead. Washington mounted a late push with a big gain to Roebuck and a diving touchdown catch by Boston. With 52 seconds left and a chance to win, the Huskies quickly moved into Oregon territory. But on fourth down with the game on the line, Denzel Boston was open and the pass fell incomplete. Oregon 23, Washington 17. Williams had a dazzling 81-yard run and solid passing. A hard-fought rivalry loss ended the regular season at 7-5. But bowl eligibility was locked in. Dat Murphy is a recruiter, talent developer, and a motivator. We've got motivator, architect, and scheme guru for Rob Miner. Currently, he's got the better grade, but I kind of want to fire him. And they both have Pacific Northwest ties. So you know what? Let's just extend both of them and see if we can't have a better year next year. Fernando Mendoza wins the Heisman Trophy. And looks like Washington will be going to the Xbox Bowl to play against Western Michigan. Well, we have our early signing day. Let's see what kind of recruits we've brought in and what is their talent, their dev trait. Timmy Pryor is a star development. Roland Marsh is impact. Nick Harper is normal for a 4-star. That's kind of disappointing. Cameron Sampson is impact. Jamal Mabin is normal. Marquise Casey is impact. That's a good find for a 3-star. Cortez Smith is impact. Terrence Saylor is an impact. Matt Robinson is normal. Josh Soto is impact. Angel Ezekiel is normal. Junior Higgins is impact. Kevin Babcock, running back, 4-star, is normal. Kevin Padrino is impact. Richard Cuevas is normal. Brian Incombe is impact. Thad Kamara, we were trying to chase down. We got cut out. Unfortunate. Okay, well, we will kick Thad Kamara off the board. Steve Cobbs is normal. Vernon Braham is normal. Amare Rashid is impact. TJ Stammer, normal. Mike Stern is impact. Larry Boamau is star. That's a good find out of Eugene. Good luck. Let's go. Star development on Larry Boamau. And then Bob Egan is impact. and we just have 2 players left that haven't committed just yet, and so we will have to see what their depth charts are in the offseason. Western Michigan finished 10-3 on the year, and Washington finished 7-5. On paper, it looks like we should dominate this game against Western Michigan in the Xbox Bowl. Let's put it to the test and see what happens on the field. In a hostile bowl atmosphere, the 7-5 Huskies faced a dangerous 10-3 Broncos team. Western Michigan struck first with a 65-yard drive for a touchdown. 7-0. Washington tied it when Williams hit Boston for a score. It became a back-and-forth shootout. Washington added field goals to lead 13-7 at halftime. In the third, the Broncos exploded for a touchdown, 14-13. The Huskies answered with big catches from Denzel Boston and a quarterback read option touchdown run by Williams, giving Washington a 19-14 edge because of the missed 2-point conversion. Western Michigan responded with a quick touchdown of their own just before the end of the third, leading 20-19. In the fourth, Washington used the option game to perfection, as Jonah Coleman galloped 30 yards for a touchdown. A successful 2-point conversion gave the Huskies a 27-20 edge. Western Michigan's quarterback, who would throw for over 400 yards, drove deep to score and sprinted in for a touchdown to tie the game again. Snapping the ball just before the 2-minute warning, Williams hit Roebuck on a crossing route. He spun through contact and raised 68 yards for a go-ahead touchdown. The extra point was good. The defense knocked away a final desperation heave on 4th down. Washington 34, Western Michigan 27. Williams was heroic with 355 passing yards. Roebuck's 68-yard catch and Boston's earlier score were clutch. A gritty bowl win capped the season on a high note. Alright, so at the end of our first season, this is how the college playoff bracket turned out. James Madison only lost by 7 points to Penn State. Georgia blew out Oklahoma 31-14. Ole Miss put a whooping on Michigan, dropping 54 points on them. And Georgia Tech beat Tennessee in the first round of the playoff. In the next round, you had Penn State versus Notre Dame, who got the buy-in. Penn State eked out a win, 24-20. Texas beats Georgia 30-27. Ole Miss lost to Oregon 42-37. And Georgia Tech lost to Texas Tech 41-27. In the semifinal round, you had number 2 Texas Tech versus Oregon 39-35. And on the other side of the bracket, you had Penn State versus Texas, number 5 versus number 1. Penn State was able to eke out a victory 37-34 over Texas. And in the national championship game, you have Texas Tech and Penn State playing for the title. Looks like John Mills, a left guard, made the freshman All-American team. So he is doing pretty good work for us on the offensive line. He's already an 84. That's impressive. Let's check out the Big Ten rankings for All-Americans there and see if we made anybody on the list there. First team, Jacob Manu, number 9. He's a senior, so he'll be graduating this year. He made Big Ten All-American. On the second team, Graf, not surprising, he had one heck of a year. And Tariq Al-Uqda, junior linebacker out of South Central Los Angeles, California, made the Big Ten All-American as well. And on the freshman side, looks like it was John Mills, and that was it. So looks like we don't have a lot of great up-and-coming talent, maybe. On the year, Demon Williams completed 78% of his passes for 3,721 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Jonah Coleman only carried the ball 147 times for 674 yards and 11 touchdowns. On the receiving side of the ball, Denzel, Boston, and Graf were tied in the catches category. Denzel edges him out 873 yards to 802 yards. Desmond Roebuck had 6 touchdown catches on the year, and Denzel Boston had 3. They were our top touchdown reception guys. And Jacob Manu had 115 tackles on the year, 16 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. Our leading sack guy was Russell Davis, who's a 68 junior. Interesting. And then Deshaun Lynch was the other leading sack guy at 8 sacks on the season. We only had 3 interceptions all season long, and Zach Durfee had 1 of them. He's a defensive end, and he had 1 of them. Interesting. And it looks like Penn State was able to edge out Texas Tech in the national championship. And the final of that game was 31-28. Must have been one heck of a game. All right, so I'm afraid we're going to have some players that are going to leave, and I knew Denzel Boston was one of them. I know Demon Williams wants to leave, and that really did happen in real life. I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep him in this game, so that's one reason why I recruited a quarterback. And what is your deal breaker? Playing time? Well, you might get playing time if Demon Williams chooses to leave. Jordan Washington. Interesting. So we've got quite a few players, only have 6 persuasions to use. Let's see if I can keep Walter Satele. He decided to stay. At least go after some of these younger guys. And Omar Khan has decided to stay. I don't know that I really need Griffin Miller at the moment. Like, I would like to keep him. He's from Washington, but if he really wants to transfer out, who am I to say no? He was not persuaded. So what about Demon Williams? And he was not persuaded. So we are losing 2 quarterbacks in this hall here right now. Can I keep Jordan Washington? He was not persuaded. And then Tariq Al-Uqda. Okay, so we were not able to persuade too many people. Only Walter Satele and Omar Khan, 2 defenders. Number 9 recruiting class. That's probably the highest I think Washington's ever finished in recruiting class rankings. We brought in quite a few of our prospects that we needed to. Mostly underclassmen, which is really what we were trying to go for. But these are the guys that we don't know their dev trait on. So Garrison Bloom is a normal. Henry Tolson is a star. That's awesome. He was a gem that we found and was able to sign with us. That's perfect. Devin Dampier is a star. Impact for Colton Joseph. Star for Ahmad Hardy. Makoni Manokainu was an impact, and we found him just by looking through the transfer portal. That was it. Hal Schmidt is normal. Owen Chambliss is impact. Blaine Myrick is impact. Ezekiel Ojumudia is impact. And then Dion Yates is impact. So we have something to work with. Position changes. I don't know that I have anybody that's an athlete, but let's just check. We do. TJ Stammer And why not put him on left edge? Looks like we might only have one player there. I don't get how it does its thing there when you're looking at that. And you're like, what is that? Larry Pu'umau. He could be a safety. And I know we needed a strong safety, so let's just switch him there. Oops. And then Angel Ezekiel. Looks like they're saying he'd be better as an edge rusher rather than a linebacker, which I can see, I suppose. So we'll put him there. And Devin Dampier is going to come in as a 91, which is perfect for us. And we'll be able to upgrade some of his stats. So he should be a really good option to what we had at quarterback. Colton Joseph is going to be the backup. That will give us some room to wiggle with there. And then we've got Dash Beerley and then Marquise Casey, who we brought along. So that gives us a good quarterback room. The running back room between Ahmed Hardy and Adam Mohammed is going to be a tough room to top. I know he's probably not going to be happy about playing time, seeing how we brought that guy in, but we really needed an option at running back. And this guy's going to get drafted after this year, so he will be gone. So if Adam Mohammed can stick through the year, he should be good to go. And then we've got this backup Kevin Babcock that we signed. Coach Prestige, we need that to come up or he's going to transfer, and that will not be a good thing for us. Championship contender on these really needs to come up. We need to have a good off-season training for all of these guys, or we're going to have a tough year ahead of us, but we have quite a few options down here, so I'm not too worried about it. Decker to Graf. Left tackle situation, we got Kevin Padrino. Oh, let's see. Can we move one of you guards out to tackle? Which one's going to be better suited there? Actually, I don't want to do that just yet. Not a freshman guy. Maybe like a freshman redshirt guy, kind of. He's well-rounded, so we'll slip him out there just to give us a little extra depth. We're not going to need it, but you never know. And then we need to switch one of these freshman dudes over to the right guard situation. So we've got left tackles, left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle. Perfect. Okay, so our guard situation isn't looking, our offensive line situation isn't looking terrible at the moment. This is the left edge situation and the right edge situation. Although I did want to see, I think, maybe this guy, Angel Ezekiel, could he switch out to being like a linebacker maybe? He'll lose some overall, but he's about the right size, give or take, that you'd want your linebacker to be, right? And he's got the speed, right? The speed and the acceleration. Like, I don't know. I'll just take the hit on his overall for now, and we'll just throw him out there at will. And see what we can make of him, because I don't need that many people on the line there. And then Russell Davis had one heck of a year last year for us. Why does it say 69? But if I move him to right edge, he becomes a 79. Like that. Like, what the heck? Now, all of a sudden, Russell Davis has jumped up 9 overall. Who knew? Yeah, see, I knew some of these guys that I recruited for Mike could be swapped around, so that's what I'm doing right there. Moving Bob Egan to Sam linebacker. I think everybody's good on their positions right now. All right, so Devin Dampier here. We are just going to jump in and upgrade these players and the training results. And actually, I want to go to the roster and see how many. We only have 2 90s. And let's see here. 1, 2, 3. And only 11 80 rated players. So right now our overall is 81, 81, and 81 on the overall offense and defense. So we're 81 across the board. Let's see if training results can help affect that at all, and we'll see what it looks like afterwards. We have 4 90 rated players and we have 26 80 rated players on the team. So that should increase our grade, I feel like. We did a little bit, I feel like we did some good training results there. So let's see what it says. Do I need to encourage transfers? Ooh, I do. Well then. Yep, I'm definitely gonna encourage him to leave. Yep. And this wonderful guard, he is from Olympia, but he hit his skill caps. Dash Beerley, to be fair, is kind of near his skill caps right now, and he's not probably going to get the playing time that we want. So I am just going to cut him. Okay, well, Armand Parker's not going to play this year. He is way too far down on the depth chart, so we'll kick him off. So that one made that easy, huh? Devin Bryant to probably be the next one to go here, just because we've got a freshman, Zany Rainey Sale, and then we've got Zari Alexander, who's going to play, and then Bryant will graduate, but Epperson will catch up next year. So Devin Bryant, sorry, but your time here as a Husky is complete. And I'm going to let the computer make the last cut. We'll see what happens here. I do have some coaching points open here, so what can I do with that? We do want to be able to get our offensive linemen some training boosts next year as well. That leaves us with 18, so what's the next one to get there? According to Jedd Fisch's coaching tree, he is solely focused on the offense, so that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out and see what we can upgrade for him there. He is a strategist, huh? Because I don't really care much about the strategist dev trait or the tactician. I would really like to be able to open up talent developer. I feel like that would be really good to get open up there. But we don't have the points to do that. We need 30 and we're at 18. So maybe for now, just going to hold on to his points. Yeah, getting to tier 3 would be great, but that's going to require unlocking the master motivator, which I think we can. Tough decision here because I'm trying to figure out what to do. For now, we're just going to leave it alone, and we will see what we start out as in this next season coming up. 86s across the board. I like that. We definitely improved in the off season. And that is where we will leave you heading into season 2. For now, thank you guys so much for watching season 1. Hope you really enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite college football team? And maybe I can do a rebuild just like this one for that school. Hope you're all having a great day wherever you are in the world, and we will see you in the next video.